Bienvenidos, buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a otra sesión de los viernes de transporte que está organizada por el profesor Bastián Enríquez. Esta sesión de los viernes de transporte van a ser en inglés. No sé si me faltó poner esa nota que era, pero se entendía por la invitada. Ya tenemos el placer de tener una invitada muy destacada. Voy a contar en inglés, porque tengo anotado acá en inglés, digamos, el CV. Ahora vamos a cambiar a inglés. We switch to English now. So, Amalia, Amalia, sorry for my pronunciation of your last name, because Amalia Polydoropoulou, sorry about that. Yeah, she's professor at the Department of Shipping, Trade and Transport of the University of the Aegean, and director of the Transportation and Decision-Making Laboratory, as well as founder of the leading lab of Quíos and Resilience and Climate Change. Her areas of research include transportation system, transportation demand, market research, and econometrics. Has had a long, and very extensive work in different areas related to demand modeling. And just for the motivation, she's one of the co-author of one of these founding papers on integrated choice and latent variables that we see at the demand course. So, without further taking of your time, we have 1 hour in total, so including questions. So feel free to go ahead and
thank you very much, Angelo. It's a great pleasure to be here, and this is an opportunity that is given to us through the Erasmus program that allows us to have this exchange of students and professors. And it's a great opportunity to be working with the University of Chile here, and Santiago, and coming from a very long and far place, which is University of the Aegean. And Aegean is in 6 different islands. So that this is Europe. We are in Greece. And in Greece, we are located in 6 different islands. And you will have more than 100 and how many years? 140 years here. We are a very young university of 40 years, but we are doing great work especially in the island of Quíos that was mentioned before, where we are located, and this is the island that has most of the ship owners from Greece, that more than 60% of the worldwide shipping goods are transported through Greek ship owners. So our work is fundamental, and you see us after big ports of Rotterdam, Antwerp, Hong Kong, and our work and our master's program are also ranked very high in the list of universities that are offering shipping and transportation master programs. So this is just a small introduction for what we are doing. I have graduated from MIT, like Professor Angelo, and same advisor, Professor Moshe Ben-Akiva. So most of our work is related to also demand modeling and forecasting techniques for new mobility services. But not only, we are working on logistics, and I'll show you some of the things we're doing on logistics as well, and new technologies. And the last few years, we are also working and seeing on how climate change might affect both our transportation infrastructures, but also the behavior of the people. We are a big group. Of 6 postdoc students, 5 doctoral students, many master students, and other professors who are working in the Transport and Decision Making Lab, and I incorporated this because we had a talk yesterday of what type of software we are using. We have also developed, and now it's a startup company, a mobile app which is utilized to collect data on the activities of the people. And with this, we are building activity-based models as well. We have a lot of equipment at the laboratory. We started in 2013 with electric bikes that we are doing some naturalistic experiments as well, giving to households this equipment and see how the behavior are changing. But more recently, we also got, e-scooters. We have cargo bikes. We just got last week pods that can transfer goods or courier from one place to the other. And with all this, a microcar as well, electric microcar. And with all this equipment, we are designing different types of experiments. And we have a very big network of companies and other universities that we are together. But most importantly is that we are running the National Research Infrastructure in Transport and Logistics. And what does this mean? It is composed of 8 universities, all the universities in Greece that are working on transportation, shipping and logistics, and 3 research institutions. Here are some of the projects that we are working. There are 3 types of projects: mainly European funded, competitive projects, and these are the ones that are referring to mobility. We have a Spine, which is a mission call, and Gemini. And I'll explain a little bit what are the mission goals, which is Spine is focusing on public transportation and how to promote public transportation for climate neutral cities. Gemini is on the same call with mobility and mobility innovations. The Pegasus is on aviation and urban air mobility. Mass Solutions is a project where different regions around Europe, 8 different regions around Europe are going to implement mass, and we are consulting on how to do it. We did a project for Qatar as well on mobility as a service, and we have a lot of expertise. So that's why the first study that I'm going to show to you is about mobility as a service. And here is a new one on 15-minute city, as I'm going to touch upon in a little while. As I mentioned before, it is not for achieving these green cities. It is really important not to see only what the people are going to do, but also the transport of courier, the transport of freight, because of the increase of the e-commerce. These flows are strongly affect our networks, and so we are trying with different projects to see how best to locate macro consolidation centers and other and how to reduce the return trips for inside the cities for urban logistics. The third part of these projects that we are working on refer to climate change. And with these projects, the most important one is the Climas one, which is refers to climate engagement of people and how to change their behavior in order to do that. And for that, we have developed this living lab. And I'm going to talk a lot about living labs because this is a big trend that right now is in Europe in order to be able to bring together all the ecosystem of the decision makers in order to co-create the different solutions. So climate is an important resource. Just finish it is about the resilient ports and the development of the decision support system for resilient ports. Now green again in shipping, and it is plus it is with regards to evacuation under under fire or under heavy rain. And we just got started a new project which is just safe. How to, with all these climate change effects, how to be able to provide justice-oriented strategies for social adaptive risk management. Because what we have seen is that the vulnerable population and different types of vulnerabilities are the most important one, and we need to care for them in difficult and risky situations such as fire or floods. So I'm going to start a little bit giving as a background. So the European Union issued these calls for funding these 100 mission cities, which are the smartest and the most advanced cities that will achieve climate neutrality by 2035. For these 100 mission cities, and now it's issuing also for next round of cities to be included in this. So for these cities, there was a serious funding. It was called the Green Deal, that the whole Europe would give money in order to achieve this climate neutrality in the cities. In parallel, it started funding projects specifically towards this goal. So what I'm going to talk about on this is on different types of projects like snapshots, how to achieve this within this all these smart cities concept, and how to achieve the resilient cities. I'll start with mobility as a service and how this has evolved over the past few years. I'm going to touch public transportation and micromobility because we discussed yesterday that this is of the interest of some of the master students here. Going to the concept of the 15-minute city and what we plan to do with the decision support system. And I think we'll stop there, but I have also slides for you on the climate project and some urban logistics that we talked earlier on. So most of you might know what is mass. The concept of mass was developed around 2014. It was we had actually the first mass project in European Union. It was called Mass for EU, together with my student Maria Camariani, who was back then lecturer and professor at UCL. So the concept here is that instead of having separate modes, that they are not collaborating with each other, and each individual need to buy different tickets or use it in order to use different modes. With mass, we have a mass provider that can provide basically packages of tickets from the different modes, and then the user has one key point of reference, which is a platform, and have the different modes that they want to use by paying either a subscription fee for on 1 day basis, or a monthly basis, or a yearly basis. So this concept started spreading all around the world, and we have seen a lot of companies who have done this, who have tried to be the mass provider. Someone successful, but most of them run out of business because at the end they do not get the correct business model in order to survive and so that the users utilize these services. So what we are doing in this, and actually what but also the cities need to go towards such services, because it will improve the usage of public transportation, and that's what we want to use, because of mass is supposed to have as a backbone the public transport usage. So in cities, let's say the one for Qatar, they are also wanted to show how environmental friendly they are. So this is one measure that they could undertake, and a service that they could offer to improve the usage and increase the usage of the public transportation as well. One innovative characteristic that we see in this study is that for the first time this is related with the transport policies, demand management strategies that the Ministry of Transportation wants to implement, and see how these TDM measures would affect the usage of mass and the overall usage of public transportation as well. So different TDM measures such as tolls, parking restrictions, fuel tax, but also measures such as providing the employees with flexible workflows or the possibility to work from home. So what we did is to collect data, and there are two types of data that we can collect when we have, of course, we have a revealed preference data, which actually would have been there if the mass system was available, or otherwise stated preference data, which we have to put people in hypothetical scenarios, present them a mass system, and see if they are going to adopt it or not. And we have two different types of experiments that we are using actually with my team. These are, one is the traditional CBC experiments, where we define different types of packages, for example, and the user decides which package they want the best in order based on the utility maximization theory, and they choose the package that maximize their utility. And there is another methodology which is called menu-based choice experiments, where the user actually, or the respondent, creates their own package. So they can. So we have the different modes of transportation, such as public transportation, bike sharing, taxi, car sharing. And here the user decides how many tickets they want, for example, unlimited usage, or how many trips of taxis or car sharing, etc. Then they create their own plan, and we ask them if they are happy with their plan, and if they are happy. So this goes, you can use some of these indicators also in the utility functions in order to understand their happiness level. So then we present, of course, the total price, and then the user decides if they're going to buy it or not buy it, and then we have the final results. We believe that in the concept of context of mass, this is a much more closely realistic decision context, because we do not really find as researchers the plans, but we allow them to build for the users to build their own plans, and to create their own bundling. With this methodology, we can capture also which modes are complementary, or which modes substitute the one with the other. There are a lot of methodological issues related to this, but we believe that this is a good also approach, and these are the latest models that we are developing. So Here you have the different modes of transportation. You have the price based on the rides, number of rides that you are going to choose, and the different questions about if they like the system, how happy they are, etc. So what we can do, we have the model estimations, and here for what we have find out in this one, we found out that based on the characteristics, the nationality plays an important role in the usage of mass. So we see a lot of differentiation. Arabs are more likely to be used in mass, while from other nationalities are less likely to use it. The higher the monthly income, the lower the probability of choosing mass, and especially in such types of countries where cars are abundant and also fuel prices are very low. And the TTM measures were not found too much significant, but we're still working on the models trying to make them better. What's really important is that the prices, what you can do with this type of models is that you can calculate the values of times. And the Ministry of Transportation was very interested in this because then they can offer services that match basically the demand, and they can package and talk to the different operators of the different systems in order to set up the prices that the users would like to pay. There is a lot of research still going on. We are developing business models, and these are not the traditional business models where the mass operator might make a profit, because we are talking about the usage of mass services for more vulnerable people and population. So we're talking about inclusive mobility in this case. So we want to attract as many people that not have the same opportunities in these systems. We also created a model that we're going to show you a little bit later about the usage of micromobility in Qatar. And on the same concept, my PhD student, Yorgos Papaioannou, has developed an innovative concept for intercity, rural, or island mass, which becomes more complicated because you do not have a specific setting of a city, but you are going towards the overall country, and there are different types of issues that can happen there. And so far, there was only some types of offers, and most of them, like for example, the Aegean Airlines offer some travel packages that can include other modes of transportation. But as a concept, is relatively innovative, and then when you're introducing an innovative concept inside the market, you really have to see what is the ecosystem and take the opinions of the different members of or decision makers. So you have the public transport operator, you have airlines authorities, you have the representatives from ferry operators, and also other experts who let us understand better how the situation in Greece would have been and who would be a mass operator, because this is the big question: who would accept to be the mass operator, and at what cost, and what benefit actually if they're going to do this. So we also developed here a map-based experiment, and you see here different types of modes, because you go from a long distance ferry tickets. As I showed you, the Aegean Sea, we have more than 100 big inhabited islands, which they need to be served on a daily basis. So ferries are really important as a mode of transportation in order to connect the islands with the mainland. And you have other short distance ferries, you have air transportation, and then in the islands, you would have all the traditional modes that you would have in a city, such as taxi, rentals, bus, or train, if possible. So how many trips they would like to make in half a year or 1 year, and how they would like to pay. And this is another innovation in our state of preference experiment, because we give them different discounts. And who is going to use this package? Another innovation, because you might not want to take such a package only for yourself, but consider your family members in order to share them. We are under the development of this model, and when Yorgos will finish it, he will also finish the PhD. But we said that mass had problems, and we saw a lot of mass operators going out of business. So there is many researchers, and especially David Hemser in Sydney, try to find out why this is the case. So we moved. So the case is that if people do not want to leave their cars and take the public transportation. And the original mass concept was about having mass, as I said before, the backbone of these systems. So, okay, try to find incentives to move people from their car, it proves to be difficult. So what he moved to the concept to MAF, mobility as a fee. So we have all these platforms now that you can buy tickets for your concerts, you can buy groceries, you can do many things. And in these platforms should include mobility within those, in order for a person, and especially a young person like you, might use it, and then you will have the young generations use it further. So this is the concept of MAF, so it would include also logistic providers, because all the packages that you received at home, for example, or at a locker, would be served through the same platform. You have tourists for your trips, longer trips for tourists, and you'll have not only the mobility operators in these platforms, but other types of sustainability agencies as well, to track noise monitoring, air quality monitoring, etc. User groups, many for us to study their behavior, citizens, tourists, elders, people with disabilities. So we need to dive inside and understand their behavior. And what we have done as well in Greece is that we started with 25 stakeholders from different types of backgrounds, and ask them if you would like to participate in such a scheme. Only 32 said that they would be interested, but when you are introducing a new concept such as math, it will take time until this realizes. So one of the concepts that we are using and we are dealing with in the SPINE project that I mentioned first is the MAG, mobility as a commons. And I'm going to show you a little bit better what we are meaning about mobility as a commons. You have a car, you are in a neighborhood, or you have a fleet of cars that can be used by all the members of the neighborhood. This is really coming up. We discussed it also in Australia, that this could be an interesting concept. Going back basically to the basics, where you could share with your friends and family and neighbors the same cars or individual transport or groups transport if it is a little van, etc. You would have again a Mac app for booking and giving the digital key for communicating with the members of Mac with each others, and geolocate the cars or the fleet of cars that are going to be available, and also be able to pay. The tariff payment is really important, and your user account that then you can customize the service based on your usage. And the fleet of cars could be anything. It could be a car like it started in the Netherlands, where one individual had two cars that were not used anymore, so he put it to the usage of all the neighborhood. Or it could include all new modes of transportation. You could share your bike, or you could share your e-scooter. Mark builds on the idea of mobility resources that are collectively governed and equitably shared within communities. And with this concept, perhaps this concept would ultimately reduce the number of cars and the car ownership in the neighborhood. We created at this point a business model. The main business model is the Osterwalder business model, where you identify what are the key activities, what are the value propositions, why do you offer this, and what activities should be provided in order for Mac to operate, or the key partners, the channels for communication. But very, very importantly, what is the cost structure and the revenue streams, because in order for such systems to be successful, at least we should be able to manage the costs with the revenues. So this is what we are working on together with decision makers there in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam, where this has been implemented. And going to a more advanced concept, going from MAF now and MAC to MAR, going to the mobility as a resource. So this is a work that we have initiated with Travis Waller and Professor. He's now in Germany. He was in Australia. Now he's in Germany, in Dresden. And Professor Tasioulas from America, and Professor Siliaskopoulos in Greece, where we are looking at MAR. And here is each. So ownership of the infrastructure is extended and can be atomized, and we have different types of resources at the smallest possible scale, and these are dynamic, should be used dynamically in order to satisfy the demand. One main issue here is how to, in this also in the context of autonomous vehicles, where they are going to, when they're going to operate both with the traditional vehicles, but also with at the beginning when they are with the traditional traffic together. So we define a future framework, and this takes into account all these climate change issues in order to have scenarios of the future systems and how it will evolve under new conditions. We have traffic flow and control and adaptive mixed. So this is done by Professor Travis Waller, the adaptive mixed equilibrium by Professor Tasiulas, the travel and freight behavior by myself, and at the end we try to synthesize all this work together. And this is how the system the system will operate. So the notion is now that you have soft capacities as trajectories that the person or individuals or freight movements would start from an origin, will go to a destination, utilize different modes of transportation. But the ownership of all the systems, of all the infrastructure might is now a resource, so might be of different people or different agencies. You have to address different classes, traveler classes, both for automatic or human-centric mobility. And then you have the hard capacity, which is the physical infrastructure, and you have to allocate all this demand into the spatial, into the capacity, both if it is reserved and not shared. If it is not reserved, if it is prioritized for autonomous vehicles, and then the important thing here is to be able to ensure that all the population will be served in an equal basis. So most of the work we are doing, and I showed you before, is on it has a lot of demand inside, and we are trying to predict the mobility patterns. And our work lately is on the development of different types of personas and understanding how different mobility services should be customized in these different personas. And this is an example, for example, from Kenya in Poland, where there are a lot of refugees from Ukraine that have moved to Poland, and we need to understand what are their needs, and if the public transportation as it is affects their usage, and if it satisfies basically their needs. Just to talk about the Spine project, so I mentioned before Spine again. So this is a 4-year project, but with many partners, more than 30 partners. It's around 20 million project. And you see different types of cities, and here we are introducing the notion of the living lab. So the living lab includes all the ecosystem of decision makers that would introduce these new mobility services, as well as the customers, the public, the travelers. And this is really important because before, what was happening is that the government or the ministry was taking some decisions of policies that should be implemented without accounting for the voice of the customer, who is the traveler. So these living labs give the opportunity for everybody to co-create these different solutions. And these different solutions in transportation could be technological innovations, so how to make a better mass, for example, how to develop better and more user-friendly apps, to non-technical innovations, for example, how to promote new inclusive family services, for example, with cargo bikes that you can take your kids and go around the city, and prioritization of public transportation and bicycles. And test, and these are pull measures, and test other push measures. For example, what will happen if you have a low emission zone in the center of the city, or a charging scheme. And in all this, a very important role plays the citizen engagement activities for the co-creation and raising of awareness of the people. And here, I put this table last night, is that not all these solutions match to each city. So depending on the city that you are and how you want, what scheme you want to promote, then you have a different living lab involving you for the involved in the development of these new and inclusive services. So going back to the Gdynia, Poland, we were responsible for developing the questionnaire, and there in Gdynia to be able to collect the data. And this is Ukraine, and you see different people from different regions moving to Poland. And what we found out is that based on where they come from, they have different also attitudes, perceptions, and needs. So then we have to take this into account when with the system that now it's offer in Poland to meet their needs. So we again developed different types of mobility personas and how they adapt to the new systems. So we start always with focus groups or questionnaires, and then we go from qualitative analysis to more quantitative with the models developed. We had a really difficult task to collect such data because people, refugees did not want, it's very hard to reach them. So you have to go to special centers, you have to go to the public transportation to get them on the buses, etc. And so we developed models, and what we found out is that whoever came with their car, they are continuously using their car. And people who did not have the chance to come with their car, then they are using public transportation. We are going to develop also an activity-based models for the activities they are conducting. Many of them are trying to find new work. It's a very challenging issue because we usually, we develop activity-based models for our cities, which are really developed, and there you have a complete new situation with thousands of people in the area that comes from another country, and they need to adapt and be included in the overall social system. I'm going to talk, how many minutes do I have? Okay, very fast, micromobility. So within micromobility, we are working with Yota Mavrogianidou. She will be finishing, I think, by next year. This is the topic of her expertise. And what we did in the concept of micromobility, this includes both electric bikes and as well as scooters. So we found out and we create with the NIRIS platform, the National Research Infrastructure, what systems are available in the overall Greece, what fleets they do have, if they're public, if they are private, and what they are going. So this is dynamically updated from the municipalities as well. So in Democritos, here we have, this is the biggest research center in Athens. So we took e-scooters together with a company that is called Hope, and we gave, it's a naturalistic experiment, so we gave e-scooters to people. We took their behavior before, during, and after. We had two phases and their satisfaction. And actually, this is something that we plan to do in the future in a different concept at the city of Egeo, and perhaps there we can use the bracelets that we discussed yesterday as well. So this is one experiment where we could collaborate. So weather is playing a really important role in the usage of micromobility. When it's colder, less people are using it. When it's very hot, again, this is a problem. So we develop different types of, different types of personas, strong and fearless, no way, no how. But in the literature, there is also a lot of different latent classes as well for micromobility. So in the last paper, we developed the aspects to relate our personas with Geller's 4 types of the cyclist classification, and we were able to do it and publish also the paper. We did this also in Doha, and there we did have, this is really important, we had the scooter data, we had the weather data, and we have the traffic zones and land use data. And we merged all these data sets, and we developed a trip generation model, basically. This is the trip frequency distribution and trip duration. These are the 24 hours of the day, and these are the different days. And we see that the usage is mostly Friday, that they have the holiday there, is the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and then less in the other days. And also what is really interesting for the young guys here is that early in the morning, 12 at night, after clubbing, etc. Again, we see the usage there. But this is also because of climate. It's very, very hot in Qatar, and also with a lot of humidity. So a combination of humidity and weather is really important. And we did also some forecasting of what happens with the increase of the temperature and the usage of or number of trips generated in the different in the different zones. So one last study that we are doing, that we also believe that it's very interesting to collaborate with, is the introduction of mobility, micromobility apps. This is really important because in the micromobility app you could have all the shared vehicles together. You could also go to the micromobility hub and leave your car, and then go inside the city center with different types of micromobility. We have developed a survey. It includes both reveal preference and set preference of what they are doing in Greece. And then right now is distributed in Greece, but also in the UK, because Yota went for a month and worked with Charisma and Chaudhry. And we decided to do this common work on this, and perhaps this is something that would be of interest for us as well. So Yota, this is the state preference experiment. What will happen if you would use a micromobility hub? If yes, these are the modes and how you would use them, and if not, what you would use. And here is the QR code. You will have it available. Please participate in this one. But if you want to create a more large scale common study that we can compare here with Leeds and Athens, that would be ideal. I see some smiles, so I'm going to stop the presentation here. And also, what we are actually doing right now, it's another study, it's not included here. It is a master thesis at this point. In the second largest city we have is Thessaloniki, and there is a new metro line right now operating after 30 years that was under construction. It started operating last year. So we're doing a satisfaction study there for people. The metro, since it's the first years of operation, it has all the, we call them young child diseases, and so sometimes it stops in different places. The first time it rained, it flooded, all these things that needs to be corrected. But there also we could use to identify the sentiments of the travelers. It's a new right now metro, so it's big for the city of Thessaloniki, and we would be very happy to combine different types of instruments in order to collect data about the satisfaction and happiness of public transport users. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Amalia. So we have time for a few questions. We want to comment on any of the topic related by Amalia. I will begin with one question on the. One question you mentioned that the mobility as a service, and you said that the companies that are to be digamos with that service didn't succeed in Europe. So can you further?
Actually, we have a table with around 10, 20 different companies all around the world from our initial papers who undertook the development of the platforms, and all of them are out of business. The most important one was WIM in Finland, actually, the first one with whom we were collaborating as well. And it is very difficult. The conclusion is that it's very difficult to persuade people to leave their car. So, and since the original concept had the public transportation as the backbone of mass, then that's why it was not successful. I don't know if you have mass here and if it's working.
No, you have Uber, things like that, but not.
Yeah, but Uber is one of the modes.
One of the most.
Yes.
We don't have
Yes. So, and it's very hard also to put the different mobility operators to work together, because they should do what is called co-opetition, collaborate and compete at the same time. We have seen many cities, and we developed many business models around Europe, and is at the end they do not so many times succeed to do this cooperation. And also what we found out is that people would trust more public transport authority, let's say, to be the mass operator. But then in most cities, the mass operator is heavily subsidized and doesn't have the means actually to do all this that is required, because it has to have a lot of technological advancement in order for the app to work well and be useful. And also we have Google Maps who that does a lot of work. Perhaps this would be the mass operator for all the cities in the world at the end. But the concept is still there. Many cities would like to try it, and that's why I mentioned the mass solutions. It's at the regional level. They would be very, and these different regions around Europe. So the concept is not dead. It has to be repackaged. And that's why we're going either to math, to combine it with other services. Going back to back, which could be, in small communities, try to have an app and have and also achieve the reduction of the car usage and the car ownership.
I was wondering, in the studies where you did like micromobility, I imagine those were like shared bikes or something, or shared scooters. Did you see any significant difference or impact between when the shared micromobility mode was electric versus when it was just like regular? Because, for example, here we have in Santiago or some few cities like a shared bike schema, but it's analog, so like regular bike. Did you see a difference?
There are differences because but in most European cities right now they are electric, even in Greece. So the shared systems are electric. There is a debate of having your own electric e-scooter or e-bike versus the shared systems as well. Where we see a lot of tourists, we see a lot of also usage of these systems, and students also utilize both scooters and e-bikes as well to go faster to their destination. So yeah, mostly electric in this.
Yeah, so mostly the study based on
electric, yes. And actually there was a big initiative from the government and subsidized most municipalities to buy their own fleets and operate their own fleets. There are some municipalities that had like 50 bikes and they are getting out of use completely in a basement. There are other municipalities that they did much better usage of the equipment, and this is a significant, especially in the touristic islands, like big islands like roads or coasts, so that has if the infrastructure to do that. It's really important to have the appropriate infrastructure in order to be able to utilize safely also these e-bikes. And unfortunately, at least in Greece, not a lot of places have this continuing also. You can see in one municipality that also has, the infrastructure for e-bikes, and right next street, the other municipality starts, and there is no connection also to the metro stations, which are really important in order to achieve the ultimate goal.
It's like they say, how many years?
But infrastructure is number one.
But also, regarding that thing about tourists, meaning like, who are the people who are using electric micromobility or micromobility shared micromobility?
Mostly tourists, I would say, and young people. For commuting, for example, to the university, but yes.
Is it normally, all of the studies, is it normally like a point-to-point trip, or is it like, I want to take my micromobility for this first mile and then take the bus or the metro and then?
So that's what we are trying to achieve with this also micromobility center. Is that would be to be like a feeder service micromobility to the public transportation. One of the scope of Spine is also to understand this in different cities. So you may want to see some initial results. So we are the third year. So you would see different types of behaviors in different cities and for different groups of people. Yeah.
Time for one. Okay, so if not, then thank you very much.
Thank you.
For presentation.